Buick's model lineup in the US looks a lot different than it did before. Goodbye sedans, hello SUVs that all start with the letters E and N. You've got the Encore, the Encore GX, the Enclave, the N-Trails. Okay, I made that last one up. And somewhere in the middle, you've got this guy, the 2021 Buick Envision. This car is all new for the 2021 model year. You wouldn't even tell it from the old Envision. I think this is a massive improvement on the exterior, and today I'm going to show you what the 2021 Envision is all about. So let's start off with an exterior walk around of the new Envision. When I say new, oh my gosh, I really do mean new. Just picture in your head for a minute the old Envision. You probably can't, right? It was so nondescript. It was really the forgotten model in Buick's lineup. And I know the commercials are a little bit, overzealous with this, but this really doesn't look like a Buick to me. This could be a Cadillac. This could almost be like a Volkswagen or an Audi. I think it is a very stylish. I love how they've kind of copied the Regal headlights. We don't get the Regal here anymore, but very sharp looking, very nice lines here with the big Buick badge here with the nice chrome pieces. Now, white would not be my first choice of color, but I do think it looks very nice and elegant and aggressive here in the front. Now, coming around the side, we have the Sport Touring package. So we got to talk about that. It's called the ST. You get ST badges back there. You get these big 20-inch black wheels. I think they really match the personality of the car. We also have these black mirror caps and some black roof rails. Also, all of the trim gets blacked out on the Sport Touring package. Now, back here, we have a little black badge that says ST, and I should let you know that Buick's ST is a lot different than Ford's ST. This is not like a sporty performance model. This has the same amount of power as a regular Envision, but more black accents. And I think Buick is actually selling really well on these Sport Touring packages. People are starting to really like them, as well as the luxurious Avenir trim, which is new for the Envision for 2021. Unfortunately, they did not send us an Avenir trim to test out, but I think this rear end looks so much better than the outgoing Envision. You have a much more coupe-like profile. The only thing I don't like is these sort of fake exhaust tips. They didn't even look like they were trying on that one. All right, so now that we've checked out the radically new exterior of the Buick Envision, let's hop on the interior where, again, things are very new. This looks so much different. Like, if you hopped in this versus the old Envision, you would never be able to tell that this is the same car. And honestly, I think if you took the Buick badge off of this, you could definitely see this being a Cadillac model even. It's very nice. I'm very impressed with it, especially at the price point that Buick has got here, because it's really only a little bit more expensive than something from, say, Chevy or GMC, so it is really nice there. Now, it is nice, but it definitely doesn't have everything. We have this pretty nicely wrapped leather steering wheel. I love the leather on it. Typical GM buttons. These are very familiar if you've been in any other GM vehicle. The thing I don't like about this particular steering wheel is it's very thick right here where the buttons are, and that's because there are buttons on the back of it for volume and things like that. It just makes it very thick to hold right here. It's a little awkward, and you do have some paddle shifters here, but they are very small. I don't think that too many owners are going to use these very often. I think these come as part of that Sport Touring package. We have pretty basic gauges. We have our tachometer and speedometer, but we do have a very nicely sized screen. GM is very good about putting these nicely sized screens, even if they're not ready to do a fully digital dashboard here on the Envision. In terms of materials, we have lots of soft touch around here, sort of this bendy, injecto mold plastic. It's not the most stellar looking thing to just have sorts of black plastic everywhere, but at least it is very soft touch. There aren't any like hard surfaces on this interior, so I think that's done really well. We do have this sort of faux black finish here. It's plastic, but it has a nice finish to it here. And because we have the second from the top trim, you see we have the new 10.2-inch touchscreen display. This is much larger than what you got in the old Envision. It is a very nice display. It's the same as what you get on most most GM vehicles, Chevy, Buick, Cadillac, all of those. And that's a good thing because I really like this system. It's very easy to use. It's a touch screen with a very nice size. We've got some interesting functions on it, like this neat air quality screen. So it's telling me that I have 0 on my air quality, on my particulates or whatever. And if you click on that, it kind of gives you a description of particulate matter and like what the good ranges are and things like that. I've never really seen that before. And we do have an air purifier in here as well. And if you don't want to touch the screen, you do have this little rotating knob right here. Cadillac usually puts that down here, but Buick decided to put it right here. And we do have a very quick home button to always take us back to home. And we do have a volume knob. Thank God Buick hasn't deleted those. Down here, we have our very basic climate controls. We do have heated seats, but we don't have ventilated seats. I think those are up on the Avenir trim, so we are missing that. We have some nice storage here with a USB and USB-C. You can also get a wireless charger in there. I believe that ours does not have the wireless charger down there. We have a decent amount of safety functions. We have like lane keep assist, park sensors, all of that. The one thing we don't have is adaptive cruise control. GM is very picky about which cars it puts adaptive cruise control on. You can get it on the top Avenir version of this car, but only after you've opted for a package. So I kind of wish they would put adaptive cruise control a little lower down on some of their trims. Not sure why GM doesn't feel that that's an important option. I guess maybe their customers just aren't using it that much. Now below that, we have what's called the electronic precision shift. It's one of these button shifters. I hate most of these, but I think Buick has actually done it quite well. We have push P for park, you pull for reverse. That's going to trigger this amazing 360 camera. I don't think anybody is doing these better than GM at a price point, maybe Nissan, but this camera is fantastic. You can see we have a bunch of different angles that I can change it to. I love that you're able to get this at a relatively low price point. Push for neutral, pull for drive, and then we do have an M button for manual. And the thing that I like about this push button shifter that I can't say for all of them is I can go into reverse, go into drive, go back to reverse, push P without looking. It's very easy to memorize, so I think Buick has done this in a very innovative way that actually works properly here. And the other things I'll note, we've got some comfy seats. They're not superly high bolstered, so if you like a very soft seat, you're gonna like that. And the other thing that we're missing besides ventilated seats that I would have liked to have seen here is a moonroof. This model does not have one. All right, so now let's check out the back seat where this new Envision gets more legroom than the previous model. We have over 39 inches of legroom, which is great. Buick has also carved out a ton of room here on your feet area, so you have plenty of room. Your feet don't feel squeezed on the seat in front of you. Now, the one thing I will note about the back seat here is that I wouldn't really want to spend too much time on this middle seat. It is much higher than the two outside seats and not very comfortable, and there is a pretty big like transmission or heating or something tunnel right here that impedes your footroom. But what we do have is two air vents back here, a USB and a USB-C, meaning that two people could be very comfortable back here for a long time. So now let's check out the trunk space, and we get a little Buick logo that shines down there. That's going to tell us exactly where to put our foot for the power kick gate. Now, it's sometimes hard to remember exactly where to go, but I like how GM shines the little brand logos down there. That is a perfect way to let people know where to kick. Once open, we've got about 25 cubic feet of storage back here with our spare tire located underneath there. We have some grocery hooks here on the side. Nothing too special. There's no way to release the second row seats from the trunk area. I wish Buick would have put that in there. But once you do fold those seats down, you're going to have almost 53 cubic feet of storage. Now, the thing that's interesting to note is Buick actually has lowered the cargo capacity here on this new Envision compared to the outgoing model. I think it was just more of a priority to provide a bigger back seat. And this car is definitely more stylish than the outgoing model because we have this sort of raked heavy roof line that looks a lot more sexy, a lot more coupe-like. That's probably why you don't have as much storage space on this vehicle as the outgoing Envision. All right, so time to get the new 2021 Envision out on the road, and we're going to start, as we usually always do, with the engine. There's only one option here. It's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Shocker. Yes, I know 2-liter 4-cylinder turbos are pretty much in everything these days. Here it produces 228 horsepower. That's a little lower than you'll find in some other luxury crossovers, but the torque number, exactly the same. You know how I've always pointed out, 258 pound-feet of torque. That's pretty much the number that you get in everything. Now, it's notable that Buick actually dropped the power and the torque for this generation of the Envision. The last generation model produced 252 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. So that's interesting that they've dropped the power. I believe, I've heard different things from Buick saying that, they just wanted to aim for a sort of lower, more attainable price point here. So, and they definitely improved the fuel economy as well. We'll talk about that. So that's the reason why the power is actually decreased here on this model. In terms of drivability, it's still very smooth. It's all mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and you can pair that with front-wheel drive, which is what we have here, or you can get optional all-wheel drive. And I really like GM's all-wheel drive system because in normal driving, it will disconnect the rear wheels and just allow you to run front-wheel drive for improved fuel economy. And in terms of drivability, I remember the outgoing Envision as a vehicle I really liked to drive because of that massive torque number. It was almost 300 pound-feet. You could really just get on the gas pedal and very smoothly accelerate without ever really straying above like 2,500 RPM. And the thing I'll notice about the torque and horsepower drop here on this model is that if I really want to get some acceleration out of it, I am having to crest the 3,000 RPM mark a little bit more, and that makes me hear the engine a little bit more. It's not like too bothery or drony, but I think that the old model was a little bit smoother and a little bit more relaxing just in terms of its power delivery. Now, in terms of comfort, this is still a very nice vehicle, and Buick has made some notable improvements on this model versus the last model. So the old Envision was based on GM's Delta platform, the D2. So that was, based on things like from Chevy, like the Malibu and things like that. Now this is based on the Epsilon platform, the E2XX platform. And the only thing that really is related to that in the United States is the Cadillac XT4, which actually shares an engine and transmission with this as well. So that gives Buick some notable improvements in terms of stiffness. This is a stiffer platform than the old Delta. It's a little bit quieter and more refined. And we already talked about some of the updates on the intelligent vehicle platform, where we have the over-the-air updates and things like that as well. So just some really nice refinement updates on the Epsilon platform. This is a very quiet car. The ride is very nice here. We have McPherson front struts. We have 5-link independent rear suspension. That's going to differentiate this from a lot of its mainstream counterparts, giving you a really nice ride that drives very smoothly over bumps. There's nothing sporty about this vehicle. We do have the mode selector button here that allows you to go from Tour to Sport to Snow and Ice. I just put it in Sport mode, and I don't really notice too much different about the steering. The steering is very lax, not very engaging whatsoever. This is not a sports vehicle. We do have paddle shifters on the wheel, but I would never really, rely on them here. I think the 9-speed does a nice job all on its own shifting. So yeah, it's just a very comfortable driving experience that definitely feels a step above vehicles like a Toyota RAV4 or a Honda CR-V without really costing too much more. And fuel economy is actually really good for this class of vehicle. We're going to get 24 mpg in the city, 31 on the highway, and 26 combined. That's what the front-wheel drive model we have here. And all-wheel drive doesn't really hurt it too bad. You get 22 in the city, 29 on the highway, losing out on that magic 30 number, and 25 mpg combined. So you're only really sacrificing about 1 mpg on average to get the all-wheel drive. So I think I might do that if I lived in a cold weather climate. But I will say that the front-wheel drive model we have here, not too crazy on the torque steer, so I think you're going to be just fine with the front-wheel drive model. I liked the outgoing Envision. I really like this one as well. I don't think I'd rant and rave about it, but it is a very comfortable and very compliant cruiser that I think you'll enjoy. So that was the 2021 Buick Envision. If you find yourself sort of straddling that line between do I want a Chevy or a Toyota or a Honda or something like that, or do I want a BMW or a Volvo or an Audi or something like that, I think this guy is gonna fit in perfectly with your budget, and I think stylistically too. The old Envision was such a forgettable looking SUV, but one that I actually really liked. I think Buick has kept just enough of what I liked about the old one while seriously improving the styling and lowering the price and improving the fuel economy. I think that the Envision is a winner, but I think like the last one, I'm not sure that they've quite done enough to make people really talk about it. This will end up probably being the forgotten model in Buick's lineup, but I think undeservedly so. I actually really like the Envision quite a lot. So that was the 2021 Buick Envision. I hope you've enjoyed this review. For more like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That's gonna alert you of when we post new videos. And check us out on all of our other social media platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok, where we have short little digestible videos of cars just like this. I'll see you next time.